The man had just taken a bite of his instant noodles when a system window popped up in front of him. Congratulations, you will awaken the summoner's skill in the year 2026. I excitedly wanted to test what kind of creature I could summon, but to my surprise, I ended up summoning a human being. Is this really normal? It turns out this is an era where anyone can awaken their powers, yet true awakened individuals are 1 in 10,000, and through this, they have gained boundless wealth and status. But the prerequisite for all this is that you must make it back out of the tower alive, because the world inside the tower is fraught with extreme danger, filled not only with ferocious monsters but also traps everywhere. My name is Feng Zhua, a bottom-tier wage earner. In order to pay off my debts, my daily dinner consists of instant noodles, and I can see absolutely no bright future ahead. Just as I was complaining while eating my noodles, a notification appeared. Congratulations, you have awakened. This sudden surprise thrilled me to no end, and I hurriedly reached out to call up the system window. Name, Feng Zhua. Affiliation, Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Level 1. Trait, Summon. Currently can summon 1. Trait skills, Targeted Summon, Random Summon, Dismiss Summon. General skill, Tower Ascent, once per day. Seeing that my trait was summoning, I immediately became very disappointed. You should know that every awakened individual is granted an ability called a trait, and the categories vary widely, including swordsmanship, shield arts, combat arts, healing, and many more. Among them, summoning is said to be able to call forth spirits, phantom beasts, gargoyles, magical monsters, and the like. But what kind of summoner would I be? So, I plan to test my ability right away. My very first summon. Trait skill, Random Summon. However, just as I was excitedly waiting for my summon, I found that nothing happened at all. Only then did I remember that skills cannot be activated outside the tower. The abilities of awakened individuals, including skills, are only effective inside the tower. In the outside world, one can only view the status window. In other words, outside the tower, an awakened individual is really no different from an ordinary person. Although I couldn't use skills, I could go on the forums to search for some information about summoners. However, right at that moment, the random summon began. I saw an intense light suddenly shine in front of me, and a figure slowly materialized. In the next second, a handsome guy appeared out of thin air in my room. Looking at the summon before me, I was completely dumbfounded. How did I summon a human? I only heard the other party suddenly speak up. Bingo, you guessed it right. I am a human. Also, this smell is so familiar. It's actually instant noodles. Can I have a bite? After getting a positive reply from me, the man in front of me excitedly picked up the instant noodles and started eating. It smelled so incredibly good. I didn't even know how long it had been since he had such delicious instant noodles. Standing beside him, my heart was full of doubts. Not only did I successfully activate a skill outside the tower, but I also summoned a human being. This was simply unheard of. I immediately called up the status window to check. Can summon humans and demi-humans. Summonable range is as follows. R rank, rare. SR rank, super rare. SSR rank, specially super rare. LSSR rank, legendary, specially super rare. Under any circumstances, the summoner and the summon entity can communicate fluently. The summon entity must obey the 3 principles. 1. The summon entity must prioritize protecting the summoner's life. 2. The summon entity must absolutely obey the summoner's commands. 3. When the first 2 principles conflict, Principle 1 holds the highest priority value. Summon directory. The mad assassin of the cruel guild. Name, John Cossack. Rank, SR, super rare. Class, human, assassin. Manifestation duration, 6 hours. Satisfaction rating, none. Resummon cooldown time, 3 hours. Takes effect after dismissal. Although John Cossack is a mad assassin, his mission success rate is 99%, but in the end, right at this moment, a massive amount of information flooded into my brain, causing me an agonizing headache. My vision subsequently began to blur, as if I were plunging into an endless abyss. When I regained my senses, I found that John Cossack was charging at me with his sword raised, but upon getting close, he brushed past me. Only then did I realize that this was a visual projection of John Cossack's past. I watched as he gorgeously dodged and chopped off the heads of several swordsmen, then used a red ribbon to tie them up one by one, even tying a bow knot along the way. Seeing his perverted smile made me shudder in fear, and his very last mission was also his one and only failure, because his assassination target was the Empire's strongest swordsmanship master. This was John Cossack's final memory. At this time, John Cossack, having finished his instant noodles, suddenly appeared behind me. What are you thinking about? This scene scared me so much that I hurriedly distanced myself from him. Can I exchange him for a normal summoned beast? After calming down, I ordered John Cossack to help clean up the room. To my surprise, this guy had absolutely no complaints and worked exceptionally efficiently. It seems it really is just like the system stated. The summoned entity is absolutely obedient to me. I then ordered him to bark like a dog. As soon as those words fell, the atmosphere in the room suddenly turned exceptionally freezing. It looked like things were going south. After all, he should still have his pride as a powerhouse from when he was alive. What if he suddenly turns hostile? However, in the very next second, John Cossack started barking nonstop like a dog in the room, showing absolutely none of the pride a powerhouse should have. This absolute obedience is simply fantastic. Right at this moment, hurried knocking came from the door. Feng Zhua, open the door quickly. I know you're inside. Only then did I remember that today was the interest repayment day. Previously, my father suffered a bone fracture and needed money for surgery fees, plus my younger brother's university tuition. Left with no choice, I borrowed 10 million won from a loan company. I originally thought I would pay it off quickly, but I never expected the other party to be loan sharks. The current me simply cannot afford to pay back this exorbitant loan. Just as I was still hesitating over whether to open the door, John Cossack beside me excitedly asked, "Do you want me to chop off the head of that guy at the door?" Seeing this, I immediately pushed him into the bathroom and ordered, "Hide well in there, and you are not allowed to make any sound." Afterward, I opened the front door, only to see a scarred man smiling at me. "You look quite energetic. Did you forget about today's interest? If you're having difficulties, don't force yourself. I can help you out." Facing the threats of these thugs, I could only smile bitterly and apologize, stating that I would transfer today's interest over immediately. After sending off these bullies, John Cossack slowly walked out. In order to earn money to repay the debt, it seems it is necessary to go climb the tower. While I was agonizing over this, John Cossack beside me actually said he wanted to watch TV. I don't even know how he knew about instant noodles and televisions, but watching TV shouldn't be a problem. And so, I lay in bed sleeping alone, while John Cossack sat attentively watching TV next to me. Even though he is a summoned human, having someone keeping me company nearby doesn't feel bad. Unknowingly, I fell asleep. When I woke up again, it was already the next day, and due to the time limit, Cossack's summon had been automatically dismissed. Just as I was getting ready to get out of bed and go to work, the latest news for today played on the TV. In the early hours of this morning, an appalling murder occurred inside the office of the illegal loan shark company Smile Cash. All 3 victims were decapitated. What is most astonishing is that the victims' heads were all tied up with a red ribbon. Every single piece of this pointed directly to John Cossack. What the hell did that bastard do? I actually summoned a psychotic mass murderer. While I was sleeping at night, he secretly ran off and killed all 3 loan sharks, and even tied their heads with bow knots, lining them up in a row. Looking at the news on my phone, I was absolutely terrified. I'm doomed. This was definitely done by Cossack. And right at this moment, a voice came over. "Hello, please help me ring this up." Seeing this scene, my soul was nearly frightened out of my body, and I couldn't utter a single word. "Can this not be checked out?" Hearing this, I couldn't take it anymore and screamed in terror. However, a second later I finally snapped back to reality. It turned out it was merely a heart-shaped gift bought by a customer in the store. "I am truly sorry. I will ring you up right away." And like that, I finished today's work amidst a flurry of wild, paranoid thoughts. With this kind of condition, I'd better ask for a day off from tomorrow's part-time job. By the way, did those 3 people die because of me? At night, I returned home and decided to summon Cossack out to ask him. Targeted summon, John Cossack. Before the targeted summon, please leave a satisfaction rating for John Cossack. Please move your finger to give a star rating. I let you watch TV and as a result, you took it upon yourself to go murder people. Giving your crime a 1-star rating isn't going too far, right? Although I really wanted to give him a 0-star rating, in the end, I kindly gave him 3 stars, because as someone in the service industry, I know best just how severe the consequences of receiving a bad review can be. Subsequently, Cossack was summoned out once again. "Thank you for the 3-star rating. I will work even harder in the future." Seeing his cheeky, smiling expression, I immediately asked sternly, "Were those people who came to my house yesterday killed by you?" To my surprise, Cossack actually admitted to it without any disguise. That is to say, the person standing in front of me is a genuine, bona fide murderer. At this moment, my heart was pounding wildly, and I was extremely nervous inside. I forced myself to calm down. At least this guy in front of me wouldn't do anything to me. After inquiring, I found out that those guys were implanted with a tracking mark by Cossack the moment they arrived at my house. The reason he went to such lengths was because of the 3 principles of the summoned. When the first 2 principles conflict, Principle 1 holds the highest priority value. Simply put, when the summoner is in a dangerous state, the summoned entity can ignore absolute obedience and prioritize ensuring the summoner's safety. In other words, if I ordered you to kill me, the summoner, you would refuse, right? But as for how to judge whether the summoner is in a dangerous state, all of this is entirely based on the subjective judgment of the summoned entity. Looking at it this way, there is a massive loophole in these 3 principles, and such a loophole is extremely dangerous. Suppose we are walking on the street and accidentally get bumped by a passerby. A hot-tempered burly man might directly hurl a few insults at me, which under normal circumstances is just a level of verbal threat and wouldn't lead to an actual physical altercation. But Cossack might treat him as a threat to my life, and then wouldn't the streets be full of heads tied with bow knots? Just thinking about it is scary. After my repeated lectures, Cossack finally understood and promised me that he would properly evaluate the specific circumstances of danger in the future. Just as I was about to send Cossack back, he suddenly asked me, "Summoner Fengjua, are you not ascending the tower today?" Climbing the tower is indeed the fastest route to making a fortune, but honestly speaking, I am very afraid of the dangers inside, and if I'm not careful, I could die in there. A cowardly summoner like me simply doesn't deserve to have such a powerful follower, and Cossack's previous master was a very strong and brave person, which makes me feel truly ashamed. Some people awaken their abilities to save the world, but I do not have the courage to risk my life. I originally thought Cossack would look down on a coward like me, but to my surprise, the other party excitedly said, "You are the best summoner I have ever seen. The greatest virtue of a summoner is being cowardly. You should know that the grass on the graves of those brave summoners is already 3 meters tall. For a summoner, bravery is poison. If the summoner dies, entities. We summon entities have to wait a long time for the next master. Please make sure to leave all the dirty and tiring work to me. I wish you good health and a long, long life. Because I kept agonizing over whether to climb the tower or not, I ended up not sleeping all night. An ordinary person like me should just obediently do some safe work. However, at this time, my father called to say that he needed to transfer to a larger hospital for his rehabilitation training. To make matters worse, my mother was laid off. Although my dad kept saying it was no big deal, I knew that our family would be in desperate need of money moving forward. Therefore, I went to the storage room and fully armed myself. Equipment, safety administrator suit. I planned to rely on this equipment to just take a look at the first floor, and if there was danger, I would immediately retreat. Just as I planned to summon Cossack out, it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't necessarily have to summon him. I could perform a random summon once more. What if I summoned a legendary summon beast? Wouldn't I strike it rich then? Cannot perform random summon. The remaining cooldown time for random summon is 28 days, 13 hours, 13 minutes, and 13 seconds. It turns out the random summon actually has a cooldown period of up to a month. In the end, I still summon Cossack. Thank you for the 5-star rating, Summoner. I am willing to serve you like a loyal dog or horse. When he learned that I was going to climb the tower, Cossack immediately threw away the weapons in my hands. These things are completely useless. Please rest assured, leave everything to me to handle. I guarantee you a safe and comfortable ride. After entering the tower, please do not lift a single finger. Do you wish to enter the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower? The currently accessible floor is floor 1. As I clicked the confirm button, the surrounding environment began to change, and I felt as if I were being sucked into a black hole. Congratulations to player Fongjua for entering floor 1 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. In order to earn money, the cowardly me brought the heroic spirit I summoned to the Black Tower. I didn't expect the first floor of the Black Tower to be a wasteland. Since this was my first time climbing the tower, the dizziness brought on by the teleportation shot straight to the top of my head, and I couldn't hold it back, vomiting rainbow-colored puke right on the spot. After resting for a while, we walked out of the safe zone. To my surprise, as soon as we stepped out, my body underwent changes. Physical abilities have been enhanced according to the level. Traits and combat skills can now be used. Even though I was only level 1, I felt significantly stronger than an ordinary person. Is this the power of an awakened individual? Black Tower Floor 1 quest. Kill 5 fat-skinned giant worms. Time limit, 2 hours. Completed, 0. Failure conditions, death or abandoning the quest. Immediately, we saw a large number of fat-skinned giant worms squirming ahead. According to the guides I had checked online beforehand, Floor 1 of the High Tower is a place specifically used for testing skills, and the fat-skinned giant worms act like scarecrows for testing purposes. Although they have thick skin and heavy flesh, their attack power is practically 0. Therefore, it is very suitable for novice players to test their strength. I heard that novice players generally take half an hour just to kill 1 or 2. Since I was already here, I wanted to try and see if I could take care of 1 myself first. This action scared Cossack behind me into turning pale. Lord Summoner, why must you bring hardship upon yourself? However, I ignored him and walked straight up to the monsters. Only at this moment did I realize that I didn't have any weapon in my hands. Just as I turned my head wanting to borrow one from Cossack, the fat-skinned giant worm in front of me slowly stood up. The monster's massive body blocked out the sunlight, and its abdomen emitted a faint green glow. At this moment, I broke out in cold sweat, and my line of sight uncontrollably shifted backward. However, when I clearly saw the scene before me, my soul was nearly frightened away, and I hastily trembled. Cossack, save me. As expected of my summoner, a very wise choice. Then I saw Cossack instantly teleport right in front of the monster, and with just a light elbow strike, he annihilated the fat-skinned giant worm. However, this was not the end. Cossack used his rapid movement techniques to launch all the surrounding fat-skinned giant worms into the air, then manifested several sharp blades from his hands and fired them at the monsters in the sky. Every single blade accurately hit the monsters' bodies, and he was simply mesmerized by his own awesomeness. Real men never look back at explosions. Skill, bursting blades. In the next second, all the fat-skinned giant worms in the air exploded, while Cossack walked toward my direction without even turning his head. I looked at this scene in disbelief. So many monsters were actually insta-killed by him in a single strike. Black Tower Floor 1 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward, 100 grams of magic crystal stone. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for Floor 1 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward. Platinum badge. At this moment, I was incomparably excited. This was simply too easy. If things continued at this pace, I would eventually make a fortune. Meanwhile, in various regions of the Kimchi Nation, all players received the same announcement, and everyone wanted to know who this guy breaking the record actually was. The scene shifted, and Cossack and I had already returned home. Checking the time, only 5 minutes had passed. Summoner Fongjua, you've really worked hard today. Although I actually didn't do anything, Cossack believed that this was the virtue a summoner should possess. And the biggest harvest today were these 2 items. This was my first time seeing a magic crystal stone. It is an indispensable and vital resource for the major energy industries currently. It is said that 100 grams is worth 50,000 Korean won. As for this platinum badge, I had never even heard of it before. I'll go online later to see if I can dig up any relevant information about it. To celebrate successfully clearing the first floor of the Black Tower, Tower today. I specially prepared a luxurious feast for Cossack. Thank you so much. I will never forget your kindness. This taste is simply fantastic. And so, we happily ate our dinner for today. Regarding the matter of climbing the tower, I seemed to no longer reject it, and even started to like this feeling. When the next morning arrived, I formulated a perfect daily schedule for myself. During the day, I would work as a clerk at the convenience store. In the evening, I would work a part-time job at a barbecue restaurant. And then between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m., I would spend 2 hours conquering the Black Tower. Targeted summon, John Cossack. And immediately Cossack was summoned out once again. Thank you for the 5-star rating. I will work even harder today. I was very curious about what the use of this satisfaction rating actually was. It turns out that the better the evaluation, the more benefits one can obtain, such as extending the manifestation duration or accelerating level ups. We quickly arrived at the second floor of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Black Tower Floor 2 quest. Kill 10 fast fat skin giant worms. Time limit 2 hours. Completed 0. Failure conditions. Death or abandoning the quest. I saw that the fat skin giant worms here moved very quickly, scurrying all over this wasteland. Just as I asked what I should do, Cossack merely smiled and said, "I'm afraid you won't have time to do anything. I only need 3 minutes. I will quickly get rid of them and then send you home." Saying that, he leaped into the air. Below, I shouted up at him, "How about fried chicken and cola for tonight?" Hearing this, Cossack became even more excited, and in a few quick moves, he eliminated all the quest targets. Black Tower Floor 2 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward, 200 grams of magic crystal stone. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for Floor 2 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward. Platinum badge. Just like this, I conquered 1 floor a day, and very quickly I cleared the 5th floor. Collected 5 S++ rank platinum badges, triggering a special reward. Awakening trait has been enhanced, and the number of summonable characters has increased to 2. Seeing this information, I was absolutely thrilled. This meant that in the future, I could simultaneously summon 2 heroic spirits to fight for me. Just having one Cossack made grinding monsters feel as easy as cutting grass. If I got another even stronger one, wouldn't I be invincible? It's just a pity that the random summon cooldown still had 20 days left. What I didn't know was that due to my consecutive S++ server-wide announcements breaking records over these past few days, the Awakened Management Association building had already erupted into chaos. According to the latest announcements, the other party has already broken the clearance records for the first 5 floors of the Black Tower, and they were all S++ grade clearance ratings. It is very obvious that this is the same person, and very likely a newly awakened rookie. Without a doubt, this guy is a freak with astonishing talent. If the next few floors are all S++ grades, it is hard to imagine what kind of changes this world will undergo. You should know that prior to this, the highest record in the Kimchi Nation was only an A grade. If it weren't for the server-wide announcements popping up over these past few days, we wouldn't have even known that there was an S++ grade above that. Awakened individuals are no different from ordinary people in real society, which causes many awakened individuals with potential to be targeted by other countries. We must find this awakened individual before hostile nations discover him. Time quickly fast-forwarded to 2 days later, and Cossack has now become my full-time nanny. All the dirty and tiring chores at home were handed over to him. Not only did he not have any dissatisfaction, but he actually enjoyed it. After finishing the chores, we arrived at the 8th floor of the High Tower. Black Tower Floor 8 quest. Kill 10 red spine ninja divine frogs. We were quickly surrounded by a large number of ninja divine frogs, and they immediately shot their long tongues at us. I saw a flash of sword light in the air, and all the surrounding ninja divine frogs were slain by Cossack with a single sword strike. Black Tower Floor 8 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward, 800 grams of magic crystal stone. Reward, Tower Ascent exclusive healing potion times 5. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for Floor 8 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward. Platinum badge. Summoner Feng Zhua. You've truly worked hard today, but I clearly didn't do anything at all. Although I have a thick skin, I'm starting to feel a bit embarrassed now, so I wanted to take some gold coins to give to Cossack, letting him go out and play for a while before coming back. However, I was decisively refused by him. I'm perfectly satisfied just watching TV at home for a bit. If you insist on thanking me, could you order me a serving of fried chicken? Immediately, Cossack actually picked up my phone himself and ordered takeout. I couldn't be bothered to argue and started taking inventory of the loot I obtained today. As for the tower exclusive healing potions, I generally have no use for them, so handing them over to Cossack to use is fine. As for the magic crystal stones obtained over the past few days, it is truly too difficult to dispose of them without drawing anyone's attention. Time quickly reached the 10th day of tower climbing, which was the day to conquer the 10th floor. Satisfaction rating for John Cossack, 5 stars. Because of consecutively receiving the highest ratings, John Cossack's manifestation duration has been extended by 1 hour. That's fantastic. This way I can assist you for an extra hour. I absolutely will not fail to live up to your expectations. The scene shifted, and we had already arrived at the 10th floor of the Black Tower. I could feel my entire body brimming with power at this moment, as if I had turned into an untamable wild horse. The sudden surge in strength made me start to get carried away. Mr. Cossack, from now on I plan plan to take action personally. Hearing these words, Cossack immediately panicked. How can we do that? You must know that the monsters from floor 10 onwards are extremely powerful. If Summoner Fengjua has an accident, even if I die and my soul dissipates, it would be hard to atone for such a sin. However, I didn't listen to his advice, because the previous floors were too easy. It made me forget what danger was. In the very next second, an incomparably massive eyeball suddenly hung right before my eyes. I instantly regretted it. Looking closely, a mountain-like giant mantis monster had unknowingly blocked our path. Is this a monster of the 10th floor? This oppressive aura is too terrifying. It's simply not something a human can deal with. So I'll leave it to you next. Go get him, Cossack. Beat this monster to the ground. I saw the mantis monster raise its sharp blades and thrust them toward Cossack. However, this sluggish speed was easily dodged by him, and he used the monster's sharp claws to launch an attack toward its head. In his eyes, this was nothing but a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Following a few flashes of sword light, the mantis monster was chopped into pieces. Black Tower Floor 10 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward: 1 kilogram of magic crystal stone. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for Floor 10 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. Due to accumulating 10 Platinum Badges, a special reward is triggered. You can copy one skill possessed by a summon entity. Skill list: Bursting Blades, Impact Crush, Despicable Assassination, Venomous Dagger, Shadow Step, Confusion, Stealth, Invisibility, Polymorph. Just as I was hesitating over which one to choose, Cossack suggested I copy Shadow Step, because a summoner's most important duty is self-preservation, and Shadow Step is the best life-saving skill in the bunch. Do I look like the kind of awakened individual who only knows how to run away? Skill learned: Shadow Step. The reason I chose Shadow Step was so that I could kill enemies faster in battle. As the saying goes, the true essence of combat lies in speed. However, I could only fool myself with such words. After learning it, I wanted to test it out in reality, but sure enough, skills cannot be used outside the tower. But why can the summon trait be used? The scene shifted to the next day. In order to legally sell the magic crystal stones I had obtained, I had to report the fact that I had awakened to the Awakened Management Association. Upon learning of my awakening, the other party told me they would immediately send someone over to handle the procedures. Over at the Awakened Management Association, Li Minya and Quan Guangri were conducting a large-scale screening of newly awakened players recently, and at this moment, they were planning to head to my house to investigate. If they found that person, they must pull him into the elite team at any cost. The scene shifted, and the two of them had already arrived at my doorstep. To my surprise, as soon as Li Minya saw me, she leaned right up to my face. "It's you, isn't it? That awakened individual who broke the S++ rank records?" It turns out that 20 years ago, a pitch-black structure suddenly appeared all over the world. Because its exterior was as black as ink and its height utterly dwarfed all human architecture, we called it the Black Tower. In order to uncover the truth behind the Black Tower, nations around the world sent legions of troops and scientists, but no matter what they did, they couldn't get close to the Black Tower, as if an invisible barrier isolated the Black Tower within it. And with the awakening of a portion of humanity, the secrets of the Black Tower were consequently revealed. It turns out that the Black Tower is composed of layer upon layer of levels, and the inside is just like a video game world. Awakened individuals are no different from ordinary people outside the tower, but inside the tower, they can unleash tremendous power. Some of the items obtained inside can be brought out of the tower, and humanity utilized these special rewards to achieve rapid development. If no one reaches a new floor within a 6-month deadline, a countdown will begin, and ultimately the Black Tower will collapse. 3 years ago, cities in India vanished just like that. Each country generally has 1 to 3 Black Towers, and the Kimchi Nation happens to have exactly one. Currently, it has been conquered up to the 65th floor, second only to the USA's 66th floor, ranking second in the world. Just as humanity explored the New World in the past, humanity today is exploring the Black Tower. Only by registering as an official player after becoming an awakened individual can you be recognized by the state as a hero envied by all. After watching the Awakened Association's promotional video, I always felt that the two people in front of me were a bit unreliable. I only heard Quan Guangri ask solemnly, "Mr. Fengjua, are you certain you have awakened?" Seeing that the other party didn't believe me, I immediately pulled out the magic crystal stones I had obtained over the past few days and told them about my conquering up to the 10th floor. Hearing this floor number, the two immediately exchanged a glance. This was the exact same number of floors cleared by that S++ record holder. They then immediately asked me if I knew about the S++ server-wide announcements. At this moment, I was extremely nervous, terrified that my secret was exposed, and hurriedly lied that I didn't know who the other party was. I am just purely nervous. Don't pay too much attention to it. However, me acting like this made me even more suspicious. If the fact that I am the S++ record holder is exposed, I will definitely be buried under the spotlight, and I just want to be a quiet, handsome guy. When registering as an official player, players are divided into regular teams and elite teams. Regular teams make their own decisions to carry out floor conquering, whereas elite teams will establish a closer relationship with the Awakened Management Association. Although they have the obligation to conquer higher floors, relatively speaking, they will also receive much better welfare benefits, one of which is personal protection outside the tower. tower. After all, players are no different from ordinary people outside the tower. Although joining the elite team has various benefits, I ultimately decided to choose the regular team. Honestly speaking, I don't have much talent, and I am a bit cowardly. I'm only suited to conquering some low-level floors. This way I can safely acquire some wealth. Hearing this, Lee Minya was very disappointed. It seems we guessed wrong. How could a coward like this be the S++ record holder? Although there are many players who repeatedly grind safe floors, seeing someone say it so nakedly right at registration is a first for me. A coward like this simply has no qualifications to join the elite team. I respect your choice. Then could I ask you to enter the tower for a moment now? This is the final procedure required to confirm an awakened individual. In order to successfully register as a player, I had no choice but to use my once-a-day tower ascend opportunity and teleported to the black tower right in front of them. He really is an awakened individual. It's just a pity that his guts are a bit too small. Being able to pass up to the 10th floor previously should be his limit. I'm afraid he will quickly give up on the 11th floor this time, because that is a floor designed to test a player's courage. The long-tailed crypt snails inside are not very strong, but their appearance is extremely disgusting and terrifying, and players need to kill 100 of them to complete the quest. A timid person could never clear it. The scene shifts to the 11th floor of the black tower. As soon as I arrived here, I immediately summoned Cossack out. Thank you for your summon. I am very happy to serve you. In order to prevent the two outside from getting suspicious, I specifically instructed Cossack to take this quest slowly and absolutely not set any more S++ clearance records. As long as we don't break the record this time, I can shake off the suspicion of being the S++ record holder. In order to be a bit slower, Cossack chose to kill them one by one, but even so, I still felt it was too fast. Just as Cossack was constantly dodging and maneuvering among the monster horde, a giant snail suddenly popped out of the ground beneath my feet. Seeing this scene, I broke out in cold sweat from terror. I'm doomed now. I thought about using Shadow Step to run away, but due to fear, my body completely refused to listen to my commands. In the distance, Cossack immediately noticed the anomaly and flashed toward my direction at rapid speed, instantly killing all the monsters around me with just a single strike. Consumed by anger, Cossack not only didn't stop but went on to eradicate all the crypt snails in the vicinity. By the time I wanted to stop him, it was already too late. I am very sorry, but according to the 3 principles of the summon, the summoner's life takes precedence over absolute obedience. I saw densely packed monster corpses lying in front of me. Seeing this scene, I knew I was doomed. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 11 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. In the outside world, Kwangwanri and Lee Minya were waiting out of boredom, and right at this moment, the server-wide announcement's information window popped up in front of them. Meanwhile, I was immediately teleported back because I had cleared the floor. Seeing my appearance, Lee Minya and the other instantly made the connection to the server-wide announcement just now. I didn't want to take things to this extent, but since my secret has been exposed, I have no choice but to silence the two of you. Cossack, tie the two of them up. I saw Cossack rush toward them rapidly, and with a swing of his sword, he chopped off both of their heads. Seeing their heads fall in front of me, I trembled all over in terror. Who told you to chop off their necks? To my surprise, the two heads actually spoke up. Player Fengjua, I died such a miserable death. Snapping back to reality, I only then realized that everything just now was entirely my own delusion. Oh crap, after spending so much time with that psychotic mass murderer, my own mind has unknowingly started to become twisted. No matter how I tried to argue, they had now firmly concluded that I was the S++ record holder. They even prepared a uniquely exclusive contract in the world just for me, commonly known as the Ultimate Elite Agreement. Not only does it offer an annual salary of tens of billions, but it also comes with the most rigorous security measures to guarantee your life's safety. Most importantly, you can receive immunity privileges. As long as it's not something that endangers the nation, we won't do anything to you. This was a treatment originally reserved only for the #1 ranked player in the Kimchi Nation. However, despite such massive appeal, I still refused it, purely because I don't want to draw too much attention. In my everyday life, whenever a stranger strikes up a conversation with me, I get incredibly nervous. In short, I am an extreme introvert. In the end, I got my wish and signed the regular agreement. Just like that, I resumed my once-a-day tower conquest routine again. To make that bunch from the association lose interest in me, I strongly demanded that Cossack slow down his clearing speed, but this resulted in me almost freezing stiff on this floor. Seeing that I was freezing terribly, the originally slow-moving Cossack suddenly panicked. Summoner Fengjua, this won't do. I will end this floor's quest as quickly as possible and take you home. After saying that, he quickly charged into the monster horde. Behind him, I was dumbfounded seeing this scene. What the hell? He's disobeying my orders again. These damn 3 principles. And so, to prevent me from catching a cold, Cossack quickly eradicated all the monsters on this floor. No matter how I tried to stop him, it was to no avail. I could only watch helplessly as the monsters in front of me fell one by one. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 12 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. After returning home, my expression was gloomy and extremely ugly. Summoner Fengjua, I am truly sorry. I did everything for the sake of your safety. If there is nothing else, I will go watch TV for a bit. Skill, dismiss infamous summon. You still have the nerve to watch TV? A summon that doesn't even listen to its master's orders shouldn't expect even a bit of reward. Soon it was time to conquer the 13th floor of the Black Tower. The quest for this floor was to traverse a corridor filled with traps. Because there were too many uncontrollable factors, Cossack still decided to clear it rapidly to prevent any accidents from happening. I suddenly felt that as a master, I had absolutely no presence, and that bullshit absolute obedience was of no use at all. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 13 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Black Tower floor 14. Because the sonic attack range of the giant bat monsters was quite large, as a summoner, I could easily get caught in the crossfire, so Cossack once again took it upon himself to quickly finish them off. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 14 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Through official channels, I sold all my magic crystal stones, and now I had already accumulated a considerable income in the bank. Moreover, the higher the floor, the more magic crystal stones you obtain. If this keeps up, my dream of getting rich might actually come true. Seduced by the money, I not only forgave Cossack for his past 2 transgressions but also decided that moving forward, I would aim for the S++ records, simply because I've already been exposed anyway, and consecutively acquiring platinum badges will very likely trigger another special reward. Cossack, let's head out. Today's goal is the S++ record on floor 15. Black Tower floor 15 quest: kill 20 goblin wage earners. I saw quite a few goblins ahead constantly chopping down trees. This was my first time seeing this kind of humanoid monster. According to the guides mentioned on the forums, they are all intelligent creatures. If even one is allowed to escape, what awaits us next is a siege by a massive horde of monsters. Don't worry, I will finish them all off in one fell swoop. Immediately, I saw Cossack activate his stealth skill. Utilizing the effects of stealth, Cossack very easily slaughtered all the goblins here. Black Tower floor 15 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward: 1.5 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Reward: tower exclusive healing potion ×5. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 15 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. The scene shifted, and we had already returned home. I hurriedly called up the system window and retrieved all 15 platinum badges I had obtained. Due to accumulating 15 platinum badges, a special reward is triggered. Seeing this system pop up, I was incomparably excited, wondering what kind of surprise it would bring me this time. Reward: 1 energy protection bracelet. Effect: generates a shield that absorbs damage to protect the user. Restriction: after absorbing a certain amount of damage, the shield will automatically disappear, and you must wait 5 hours before it can be used again. The shield's effect will automatically adjust based on the user's level. Surprisingly, there was no tower exclusive prompt in this description, which means I can use it anywhere. I excitedly activated it and saw a blue, transparent energy slowly envelop my entire body. Now I won't be afraid of danger even in reality. This bracelet is simply amazing. To test the effect of this shield, we once again arrived at the 15th floor of the Black Tower, and then I directly bared my belly, demanding that Cossack attack me. However, no matter how I ordered him, the other party refused to strike. Left with no choice, I had to grab his hand and thrust it toward my own abdomen. Oh crap, I forgot to turn on the shield. I hurriedly took out a healing potion and sprinkled it over the wound. Lord Summoner, you absolutely cannot do this kind of thing ever again. After resting and recovering, we began hunting goblins. Of course, Cossack alone was enough. Meanwhile, spacing out on the sidelines was too boring, so I decided to practice my skills. Skill: Shadow Step. Immediately I felt my body start to sway, and in the next second, I teleported a short distance ahead. So this is the legendary God tier escape skill. Through continuous attempts, I grew increasingly fond of this sensation of rapid movement. However, in the next moment, I suddenly teleported right behind a goblin, and worse yet, I was spotted by it. I saw the goblin open its mouth wide and bite at me rapidly. Just at the moment my arm was bitten by the goblin, I activated the shield skill, and then delivered a flying kick, viciously sending the goblin flying. Only at this time did Cossack up ahead notice the anomaly over here, and he rushed toward me anxiously. Summoner Fongjua, are you alright? Let me see if you're injured. Haven't I told you many times already? As a summoner, you cannot be too brave. Leave the dangerous things to me. Just like that, I repeatedly grinded the 15th floor of the Black Tower for over a dozen days, just to familiarize myself with the use of my skills, and consequently acquired a massive amount of magic crystal stones. Now that I had wealth, I wanted to buy a piece of equipment for myself, so I contacted team leader Kwon Guangri, and so, I was chauffeured to the Awakened Mall. This is a store exclusively for players, but surprisingly, there wasn't a single customer inside. Could it be because the goods here are too expensive? I didn't think too much about it. I directly sold the magic crystal stones I had acquired over the past few days, then bought the equipment I had my heart set on and went home. The adamant and spike club cost 2 million Korean won. The basilisk leather boots cost 3 million Korean won. With this set of equipment, my safety will be even more guaranteed in the future. After putting away the equipment, I summoned Cossack out. Today we wouldn't be repeating the floor 15 quest. I decided to continue climbing upward, but before that, I needed to summon another helper, because the cooldown time for the random summon had just ended. Hocus pocus, give me a powerful companion. Skill, random summon activated. In the next second, a humanoid phantom lit up in the space before me. As the other party's body slowly materialized, his stature began to grow continuously until finally his head even pierced a hole through the ceiling. Just what on earth did I summon? As the heroic spirit's body gradually materialized, I finally saw his appearance clearly. He was actually a brawny man covered in muscles. This physique was practically no different from a monster's, right? To my surprise, Cossack actually launched an attack on him on his own initiative at this time, landing a solid flying kick right on the guy's face. Why did it have to be you, you bastard? Ruining Lord Summoner's house the moment you appear. If you don't behave, I'll make you disappear. Cossack ruthlessly continued to attack the newcomer. From their conversation, it seemed they had known each other for a long time. You weakling, your attacks are still as painless as ever. This sentence instantly enraged Cossack, who directly drew his weapon, planning to chop off the guy's head and tie a bow knot on it. Right at the moment he raised his sword and charged over, I hurriedly stood between them and ordered Cossack to stop. I will obey Lord Summoner in all things. Cossack told me that this big lug was quite famous in their circles. He was a notoriously simple-minded, all-brawn and no-brains idiot, and didn't even know what the 3 principles were. Who says so? I worked hard to memorize the 3 principles. First, the summoned entity prioritizes protecting the summoner's life. Second, they must absolutely obey the summoner's commands. Speaking up to here, the brawny man froze, unable to recall the rest no matter how hard he thought. Did you see that? You drew a piece of trash. We should just kill him directly and leave him in an unsummonable state for 100 days. Hearing this, I learned that these summoned entities actually had such rules. I stopped listening to Cossack's nonsense and opened the status window myself to check. Summon directory. The foolish barbarian meat shield of the Great Plains tribe. Name unknown. Rank R rare. Class human. Barbarian warrior. Manifestation duration 10 hours. Satisfaction rating none. Resummon cooldown time 3 hours. Since he is merely a rank, isn't this the lowest rank for a summon? My luck this time is truly terrible. Immediately, I acted like an interviewer and questioned the barbarian warrior in front of me, but the other party knew absolutely nothing. He didn't even remember his own name. Just as I was getting a massive headache over this, my vision suddenly blurred and my soul felt as if it plummeted into an abyss. When I woke up again, I found myself in the other party's memory space. This was a barbarian warrior who lived on this great prairie. His personality was extremely pure, and he loved keeping company with nature. Even when targeted by giant prairie wolves, he could playfully get along with these ferocious beasts. However, his kindness was also what ultimately doomed him. A group of people with malicious intentions posed as heroes and sought his help, demanding that he act as the team's meat shield to fight against the legendary Hydra behemoth together. Despite his formidable strength, which allowed him to tear off some of the Hydra's heads, his body could not withstand the Hydra's venom. Even as his skin melted away, he did not retreat. His eyes held only the conviction to protect his comrades. Yet, what he received in return was only the mockery of his comrades, and he ultimately dissolved into a pile of dry bones due to the corrosive venom. Seeing his tragic end, I felt an inexplicable sense of anger. So what if he is a bit foolish and clumsy? Welcome, let's climb this black tower together. First, let me give you a name, since you are so strong and will serve as the tank in the team from now on. Let's call you Meat Shield. Hearing this name, Meat Shield seemed very happy. Mr. Meat Shield, please trust me. I will definitely make you happy. Then, I turned to Cossack and warned him, from now on, you two need to get along well. You are not allowed to bully him anymore. Cossack, who initially had a very reluctant expression, suddenly figured it out after careful analysis. Yes, Lord Summoner, I will definitely cultivate Meat Shield into a useful talent for society. After resolving Meat Shield's matter, the 3 of us teleported to the 16th floor of the Black Tower together. Floor 16 quest, kill 30 goblin scouts. Time limit, 5 hours. The moment we entered the forest on the 16th floor, our whereabouts had already been locked onto by a group of goblin scouts. I saw a blowpipe already aimed at me. Fortunately, Cossack reacted swiftly and caught the incoming dart just in time, otherwise I would have gone to meet God. Seeing their ambush fail, all the goblins in the surroundings rushed out. I hastily did a diving leap and hid behind a rock, while Cossack took charge of blocking the incoming projectiles. However, even so, several darts struck the rock I was hiding behind. I hurriedly ordered Meat Shield to join the battlefield too. I saw Meat Shield's gaze sharpen, his legs abruptly exerted force, and in the next second, he leapt high into the sky. The goblins below were dumbfounded seeing this scene and hastily ran towards the distance. Cossack, who was still killing goblins, was also bewildered seeing this. Why are these goblins running away? However, by the time he turned his head to look, it was already too late. Meat Shield's massive body crashed heavily into the ground like a nuclear bomb. All the goblins in the vicinity were blasted into the air by the shockwave, and even Cossack was not spared. You bastard, you dare to take revenge on me. Right at this moment, several goblins pulled out blowpipes and fired at Meat Shield. However, so many darts hitting his body felt like a mere tickle, completely ineffective. I saw Meat Shield finish off all the remaining goblins with just a few casual punches. Watching this from the sidelines, I was completely stunned. Is this really just an R-rank barbarian warrior? If the system info didn't show it, I would have suspected Meat Shield was SSR level. To reward Meat Shield's contribution this time, I specially bought a huge pile of fried chicken for him to eat, and I didn't expect a barbarian warrior to also like this kind of deep-fried food. Another thing is that I found out Cossack is actually afraid of spicy food. The moment he tastes anything spicy, he breathes fire. Moreover, he always likes to bully Meat Shield, and I feel like no matter how much I educate him, he won't change this bad habit. The scene shifted to the next day, and we prepared to conquer the 17th floor of the Black Tower. Floor 17 quest: kill 30 goblin warriors. Now that my strength has also been significantly enhanced, I feel my heart is about to awaken once more, and the wildness within me erupts again. The current me is terrifyingly strong. I want to fight 10 of them. However, the 2 of them ignored my passionate speech. Lord Summoner, you should just obediently stay in the back. Leave everything to us. I saw densely packed, fully armed goblin warriors standing ahead. Isn't this quantity a bit too much? There must be over 100 of them. Even though they are monsters, they actually know how to deploy military formations. If we follow a normal strategy, we should retreat to a safe area first after the goblin warriors appear, and then just wait a moment. Their troops will disperse. As long as we are careful, luring and killing 2 or 3 at a time repeatedly, we can clear the floor. This is just an ordinary strategy, but for me, it is completely unnecessary. Mr. Meat Shield, I choose you this time. In the next second, Meat Shield erupted with immense power, and the terrifying force directly shattered the ground. Eradicate them all. Let me see what the next hidden special reward is. I didn't expect these goblins to have a rather high IQ, actually knowing how to deploy military formations. However, such parlor tricks are like child's play in the face of absolute power. I saw Meat Shield send all the goblins flying with a single charge. Seeing this scene, I was incredibly excited. This was simply like a giant tank crashing into a pile of bicycles. They had absolutely no power to resist and were all crushed to pieces. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 17 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. Meanwhile, Cossack, seeing my appreciation for Meat Shield, suddenly felt his own status was threatened. The scene shifted, and we arrived at the 18th floor. Black Tower floor 18 quest: eliminate 30 goblin assassins. I saw countless goblin assassins hiding in the darkness ahead, and I immediately ordered Meat Shield to step forward and attack. However, the movement techniques of these goblin assassins were too bizarre, and all of Meat Shield's attacks missed. They seemed to suddenly vanish, and no matter how Meat Shield searched, he couldn't find their traces. Watching this left me with a face full of confusion. Meat Shield actually had no way of dealing with these minor mobs. Only Cossack, seeing this, actually started laughing triumphantly. Don't think that relying on brute force can solve everything. Let me teach you what an elegant fighting style is. The stealth techniques of those goblins can't even match my toes. Skill: Shadow Step. Immediately, I saw Cossack kill a goblin hiding in the dark with every flash of his body. See that? This is the true art of combat. Seeing Cossack's current performance, I instantly revealed a plan succeeded expression, because all of this was within my calculations. Cossack clearly had some psychological issues before, and now with Meat Shield's inclusion, letting the two compete against each other can soothe Cossack's mind and body. Now it is time for me to personally take action. With that, I pulled out my newly bought adamant and spiked club. Come on, my long-hidden restlessness, transform into wild horse mode. Right before entering this floor, I scoured through all the guides. The goblin assassin's stealth skill is of the lowest tier, and players only need to focus their minds to detect their movements. Now, my shadow step skill has become very proficient. I saw myself use a few quick flashes to arrive behind a goblin. Unexpectedly, I lost my footing and fell straight forward. Fortunately, under my wild swinging, the spiked club in my hand managed to precisely hit the goblin's head. Just as I was feeling smug about my success, a goblin assassin silently crept up behind me. In this critical moment, Cossack intervened in time, instantly killing it with a single sword strike. With Cossack's continuous killing, we had successfully defeated 27 goblin assassins. At this moment, Meat Shield on the side could no longer sit still. I saw him clench his fists and launch full-range attacks in all directions, and unexpectedly, he really managed to hit a few. Meanwhile, I accidentally got ambushed by a goblin again. Luckily, I still had my shield on, and I immediately used Shadow Step to pull away. Otherwise, it would have been dangerous just now. At this time, two goblins pincered me from the front and back. Just in the instant their daggers were about to strike me, I leapt high into the air, locked onto my targets, and smashed both of them to pieces with a single hammer strike. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for floor 18 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. In the series of heaven-defying records I set recently directly caused the nation's major media outlets to explode, competing to report on it non-stop. Fortunately, my identity has not been made public to this day. However, upon returning home, Cossack kept sighing constantly. Upon my questioning, I finally learned that the reason he acted this way was because I was progressing too fast. That's right, it's precisely because you are progressing too fast. The shadow step skill you executed at the end was almost perfect. Not only is this not a good omen, but it is a signal of danger. You will start to discover the joy of battle, and even become arrogant and complacent. In other words, the greater your courage, the more dangerous you are. Despite my repeated assurances that I would absolutely not do anything dangerous next time, Cossack was still uneasy. I always have a feeling that our summoner will eventually stir up some massive trouble one day. Because my strength was growing rapidly, this made Cossack very worried. You must know know that what a summoner fears is not how strong the enemy is, but believing that they can definitely handle it themselves. Being cowardly is a summoner's excellent virtue. Meet Shield on the side. Seeing Cossack lose his composure like this for the first time, couldn't help but mock. Murderer, you seem to be trembling. However, what greeted him was a fierce kick. Shut up, you idiot. I saw Meat Shield directly sent flying by this kick, even knocking over the food inside the refrigerator onto the floor. I was terrified seeing this scene. This is the refrigerator I spent a lot of money to buy. How could you guys do this? Furious, I directly dismissed the summon, sending both of them back. Seeing my aged kimchi from last year go to waste like this, my intestines twisted with regret from the pain, knowing that this was prepared for me by my mom. It seems I need to adjust my mood tomorrow. I'll just go back to my hometown to relax my mind. So on the morning of the next day, I returned to the home where I grew up. Mom, your unfilial son has returned. However, I only heard a familiar voice coming from the inner room. It's Ahayok. Come on in. It turned out that because my dad's body suffers from frequent pain nowadays, he needs a few minutes of massage every day. I hurriedly helped my dad up to prepare for lunch, but I didn't see my younger brother. After asking, I learned he went out to buy groceries. Soon, a fragrant bowl of spicy tofu was ready, so our family of four started chatting while eating. Even though our family's economic situation is very difficult now, my parents told me not to worry about them. Mom will find a new job soon. However, I was hesitating whether to tell them about my awakening, so I probed tentatively. It would be great if I could awaken. However, hearing my words, my dad and brother laughed out loud. Are you joking? If you can awaken, sows can climb trees. You have to know that you even cry for mom to come catch cockroaches when you see them. Bro, this is the funniest joke I've heard in my life. My mother on the side suddenly started caring about my work situation, but I lied that today was my day off so I wasn't working. However, how could such a lie deceive mom? It was instantly exposed by her. No matter what, mom will support you, but loan sharks are absolutely not to be touched. However, my mother's words reminded me of a memory I had forgotten. Those poor little guys. During the chat, I learned that the reason my mother was fired was because when she was repairing a water purifier for a rude customer, she was demanded to clean up all the recyclables and food waste. After mom refused, she was complained about by the other party. Mom's personality is exactly that kind of active, brave, and absolutely intolerant of any unjust behavior. And the proudest achievement of my dad's life is successfully asking mom out and winning her heart. After dinner, I took out a portion of the money I earned these past few days and gave it to my brother, instructing him to give this money to our parents, ensuring that they do not overwork themselves. Just as I turned around preparing to leave, my brother called out to me, yet he just stood there blankly, unable to utter a single word. I knew that it was because I took out loans to pay his tuition fees, and now I brought out a large sum of money for this family again. He was most likely just too shy to say the two words, thank you. I patted my brother's shoulder with a smile and said, kid, I know what you want to say. There's no need to be so polite with your brother. That's really great. I knew that since brother gave mom and dad pocket money, how could you possibly forget about me, your younger brother? Hearing this, I was instantly speechless, so all that self-moving emotion just now was just me worrying for nothing. After leaving my hometown, I once again went to the Awakened Management Association. After seeing my family, my resolve to take this matter seriously became even firmer. Although I have the energy protection bracelet, as the floors I climb increase, the monsters I face will also become increasingly powerful. It's best to prepare a shield to be on the safe side. However, hearing the astronomical price of 100 million Korean won, I was completely stunned. Upon learning of my needs, the clerk introduced me to a budget version shield. Not only is it compact and convenient, but it is also very cheap, and most importantly, it possesses a self-repairing function. Putting it on, I was extremely satisfied. This is my dream shield. Excuse me, what is the exact price of this small shield? It's very cheap. It only costs 40 million Korean won. And so, I bought this equipment with tears in my eyes. Why does dealing with the clerk feel even harder than killing goblins? Just as I planned to head home, a strange man called out to me. Looking at you, you probably haven't been awakened for long, right? My name is Choi Hausher. I am a player just like you. Although I really dislike interacting with strangers, this was my first time encountering such an enthusiastic player. Through our conversation, I learned that the other party frequently shops here, and seeing a new face like me today made him curious. I have already climbed to the 30th floor of the Black Tower. I wonder which floor you are on now. However, I kept my guard up against this unfamiliar guy and lied that I had only reached the 10th floor. I see. If you encounter any difficulties in the future, you can always come find me. Currently, my first impression of this guy is that he has an easygoing personality and is very easy to get along with. For an introverted person like me, I really envy people like him. After chatting casually for a few words, we said our goodbyes. The scene shifted, and I had already returned home. Now that I have reached level 19 and can simultaneously summon two powerful companions, I am full of hope for the future. In order to show off the equipment I bought today, I directly summoned Cossack out. Thank you for the 5-star rating, Lord Summoner. But he was completely dumbfounded seeing the small shield I bought. How did you become like this? The current you is heading further and further down a dangerous path. Do you absolutely have to personally participate in the battles? Don't worry, I will put my own safety first. My previous master said the exact same thing. Please promise me, during battles, you absolutely must not charge to the front. Alright, I promise you. Saying that, I stored the equipment into my system inventory inventory. Also, if we encounter danger, you can sacrifice Meat Shield and me to escape on your own. Of course, if possible, it's best to only sacrifice Meat Shield. Right at this moment, Cossack smelled the aroma of delicious food. Upon eating the delicious dumplings, he instantly tossed his previous worries to the back of his mind. Lord Summoner, you are practically my second parent. However, just as they were eating with relish, Cossack suddenly sensed an intense crisis. Did you make enemies with someone recently again? At this moment, an intense murderous intent is coming from outside the door, and it should be aimed directly at you. Hearing these words, I instantly lost my appetite for the meal, hurriedly activated my energy protection, and Cossack entered a state of stealth. In the next second, a gunshot abruptly exploded, and the lock on my door shattered in response. I just stood at the doorway watching my front door slowly being pushed open. Good evening. I didn't expect us to meet again so soon. I couldn't believe it. The person in front of me was exactly the one I met in the store. Surprised? You idiot. It took me quite a lot of effort to track you down here. It turns out this guy had his eyes on the equipment I was carrying, planning to rob me while I was weak. However, what I was worried about was not myself. The moment this guy pointed his gun at me, his tragic fate was already sealed. Hurry up and hand over all your equipment. Don't think I am joking with you. At this moment, Chui Haosher was incredibly smug inside. Look how scared this guy is. Sure enough, I chose a very suitable target this time. Just as the other party wanted to fire his gun at me, Cossack flashed behind him and directly used the hilt of his blade to strike him heavily on the forehead. With just a single strike, he knocked him out, and he lost consciousness, collapsing onto the floor. I looked at the scene before me in disbelief. Mr. Cossack, what you did was simply fantastic. You actually only knocked him out instead of beating him to death. Just now I was really worried that you would again do something beyond my expectations. I am so touched. It seems my previous education was useful after all. No matter how you look at it, this guy who suddenly appeared should be an item trafficker. And the so-called item trafficker is someone who kills players who are no different from ordinary people outside the tower and snatches their items. If I hadn't awakened this kind of trait that can also be used outside the tower, then just now I would have died just like those other players. And at this time, Cossack actually pulled out his favorite bonot. Don't worry, Lord Summoner. I will help you dispose of him. Hurry up and let him go. We will just hand him over to the relevant authorities to handle. Meanwhile, in the Awakened Management Bureau, Quan Guangri was reporting my whereabouts for today to the bureau chief. Player Feng Zhuha bought a small shield at the store. Judging from the equipment he purchased these few times, we suspect he is very likely a close combat warrior. Right at this moment, the ringtone of the phone in Quan Guangri's pocket rang, and unexpectedly it was a call from the police officers. After picking it up, his face was full of disbelief. He hung up and hurriedly rushed towards my house. What the hell happened? We should have made him sign that elite agreement from the very beginning. If player Feng Zhuha has an accident, we're doomed. At this moment, 2 police officers had already arrived at my house, and to my surprise, that bastard Chui Haosher actually dared to slander me, saying that I was the one who kidnapped him here. Since that is the case, then the homeowner will also come back with us to undergo investigation. Hearing these words, I was immediately terrified. Will I be sent to prison because of being framed? Right at this moment, Quan Guangri rushed over. To my surprise, Chui Haosher seemed to also know the other party. Captain, it's me. It's this guy who kidnapped me. Hurry up and save me. Hearing these words, I immediately felt bad. They won't intentionally shield the criminal, will they? Just when Chui Haosher thought his savior had arrived, Quan Guangri went straight over and blasted a punch right into his face. You bastard, your mouth is full of lies. How dare you do such a thing? You have already reached level 34. Why do you still resort to robbery? Now I formally revoke your status as a player. The relevant departments will arrive shortly, and we will hand him over to them when the time comes. Hearing these words, Chui Haosher immediately became scared, hurriedly kowtowing and begging for mercy. I've seen plenty of guys like you who never learn from their mistakes. Don't think there will be a next time. Just like that, Chui Haosher was ruthlessly taken away, and Quan Guangri walked towards me with a gloomy face. Are you hurt anywhere? Seeing this frightening expression, I hastily replied, No, I was just a little startled. Player Feng Zhuha, I am truly sorry. I guarantee that such a thing will absolutely not happen again. We cannot drag this out any longer. The elite agreement must be completed as soon as possible. Time quickly arrived at the next day. Summoner Feng Zhuha, did that person from yesterday end up dying? Of course not. He was just taken away by the relevant authorities. Then could you inform me of the specific location he was taken to? Seeing Cossack's words and the dagger hidden behind his back, I was instantly speechless. Don't even think about it. I am not going to tell you. Then I summoned Meat Shield out as well. Black Tower Floor 19 quest. Kill 30 Goblin Wizards. Honestly speaking, the Goblin Wizards on Floor 19 don't pose much of a threat. They cannot cast any strong attack magic. At most just some curses, binding magic, and some weak fire arrows. Although the curses might be a bit troublesome, as long as Meat Shield charges at the front, everything seems to become much simpler. I saw the Goblin Wizards launch a black mist curse at us, but Meat Shield merely let out an angry roar and scattered all the curses. Watching this left me dumbfounded. It was simply too brutal. At this time, Cossack also didn't want to fall behind and charged up. Meat Shield, let's cooperate and quickly annihilate all of them. Saying that, the two rapidly charged and slashed towards the goblins. Relying on his rapid movement techniques, Cossack easily severed the heads of the goblins among their ranks. While Meat Shield was much simpler, he knocked over several with just a single punch. Seeing such a hot-blooded scene, I couldn't help but want to step up and show off a couple of moves. However, at this moment, you have completed the Black Tower Floor 19 quest. Right now, Cossack and Meat Shield were actually whispering to each other over there. Noticing my gaze looking over, they smiled nervously. Summoner Feng Jua, our performance wasn't bad, right? Damn it, these two guys definitely did it on purpose, actually not giving me a chance to strike. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for Floor 19 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. The next day, we continue to the 20th floor of the Black Tower. This floor is known as the Talent Assessment Floor, and its difficulty is rated as extremely perilous. Various types of goblins will appear. Lord Summoner, you absolutely must not act recklessly. If I were you, I would find a safe place and stay there. That's right, you better not run around. Leave everything to us. Hearing their words, I was instantly rendered speechless. Black Tower Floor 20 quest: kill 100 goblins of any type and 1 giant goblin. Time limit: 10 hours. Failure conditions: death or abandoning the quest. I saw Cossack approach me with a cheeky smile, blocking me inside the safe zone, as if saying, "You are too weak. It's very dangerous outside. You better stay obediently inside." Subsequently, Cossack strolled out of the safe zone unhurriedly, while Meat Shield had already charged to the front. At this moment, various types of goblins appeared ahead, launching attacks at us one after another. Just as Cossack prepared to strike, a figure flashed past from behind him. Skill: Shadow Step. Utilizing the rapid movement skill, in the blink of an eye I caught up with Meat Shield. "Mr. Meat Shield, you're running a bit slow. I'll be going on ahead." Saying that, I leaped high into the air, but just as I clearly saw the overwhelming, sky-covering attacks ahead, my whole body instantly froze. I played myself this time. "Lord Summoner, don't do it. You must know that since I was young, my personality has been very introverted, always playing alone in the corner. Even if my toys were snatched away right in front of me, I didn't dare step forward to fight for them. This caused my situation to become even worse after entering elementary school. Even when bullied by classmates, I didn't utter a single sound. By middle school, I became the invisible person in class, and even in high school, I didn't manage to make a single friend. I desired change in my heart, but my footsteps were too timid to stride out. I myself found it hard to believe that someone like me would one day actually muster the courage to fight monsters. Perhaps it's because monsters are not humans, and there is no such thing as the scheming and backstabbing found in human interactions. Just like leveling up by killing mobs in a game, I only need to defeat them to gain rewards. However, Cossack, seeing me charge into the monster horde, suddenly panicked. "Lord Summoner, don't seek death." I saw a group of goblin warriors holding weapons charging at me. I directly activated the skill Shadow Step, dodging the barrage of blow darts in the forest while rapidly closing the distance. In just a few moves, I arrived behind a goblin and then smashed my fist into its head. Just like that, I utilized Shadow Step to continually eliminate these ambushers hiding in the trees one by one. Seeing this scene, Cossack found it hard to believe Lord Summoner could actually use Shadow Step so proficiently this quickly. Right at this moment, dozens of blow darts were shot at me. I hurriedly raised my shield to block. However, this shield was still too small, which resulted in the energy shield on my body being completely depleted. This thrilling scene instantly caused me to break out in cold sweat. It was simply too terrifying. The originally relieved Cossack turned his head to look, only to see me frightened and being chased all over the place by a group of goblin warriors, my mouth still yelling for help. "Hold on, Lord Summoner. Keep running towards the cliff wall." Just when my stamina was about to run out, I finally ran to the cliff wall Cossack mentioned, but there was nothing here. I had trapped myself. Just in the instant the pursuing enemies behind me were about to charge over and slaughter me, a giant hand directly snapped their weapons in half. Meat Shield arrived in time to block all the goblins, and with a single heavy punch, he finished off all the goblin warriors in front of him. On the other side, after clearing the goblin scouts, Cossack rapidly charged towards the goblin wizards above the cliff wall. Just as they were chanting spells, Cossack had already rushed in front of them, and with a swing of his sword, he killed the 2 goblin wizards in front of him. Just like this, constantly sweeping through the monsters here. In a short while he solved them all. It seemed we had already killed over 100. Seeing so many monsters resolved by them in an instant, I was shocked. "You guys are simply too amazing. But Meat Shield, could you move your body forward a bit?" Right at this moment, a massive beast roar resounded, and I saw a giant elite goblin walking towards us. Seeing this, Cossack hastily jumped down from the cliff. "Leave this guy to me." However, Meat Shield, unwilling to fall behind, also rapidly charged towards the elite goblin, and immediately the 2 big guys crashed heavily into each other. Meat Shield directly grabbed the elite goblin's neck with his hands. Cossack, seeing the opportunity had come, dive bombed from the air, directly thrusting the 2 daggers in his hands into the monster's eyes. Successfully killed 100 normal goblins and 1 elite goblin. Black Tower Floor 20 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward: 2 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Reward: Black Tower exclusive healing potion ×5. Lord Summoner, your battle just now was simply too cool. Stop flattering me. I know exactly what I weigh. I have seen all your dedication and hard work. Thank you for protecting me. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for Floor 20 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. This announcement instantly caused caused a sensation around the entire world, and major media outlets competed to report on this matter. Even the netizens started discussing it fervently. This is simply too outrageous, not receiving a server-wide announcement for half a month. I thought the other party had already failed. I didn't expect this mysterious player to be able to consecutively obtain S++ ratings. Will he continue to break through further? Meanwhile, over at the Awakened Management Association, Bureau Chief, do we need to control the media public opinion? No need. Intervening without authorization will actually make people more suspicious of us. Based on our investigation into player Feng Zhua, we found that his family situation is not very good. His father had surgery due to an accident and is in the recovery phase. His brother is a university freshman and the tuition was paid by player Feng Zhua. His mother is currently unemployed due to a conflict with a customer. Therefore, I feel we can provide some assistance to his family. At this moment, to reward Cossack and the other for their hard work today, I specifically ordered a sumptuous takeout for them. Looking at the bowls of delicious noodles on the floor, Meat Shield started drooling. This taste is simply fantastic. Eat slower. Don't eat my portion too. Meanwhile, I stepped aside and opened the system panel. Due to accumulating 20 platinum badges, a special reward is triggered. Reward: 1 random box. 1 random box can randomly obtain 3 items. Specific contents include equipment items, combat skills, upgrade runes, tower lead tickets, skill cooldown reset tickets, trait enhancement runes, summon ascension runes, multinational tower access tickets, quality guaranteed summon tickets. Seeing so many types of rewards made my head spin. Many of them I didn't even know what they were used for. The tower lead ticket seems to allow me to head straight to the higher floors, but who would want such a thing? In comparison, the upgrade runes are much more suitable for me. Also, this multinational tower access ticket seems to allow me to climb the black towers of other countries. This thing is of no use to me right now either. And what I want the most is the quality guaranteed summon ticket, which allows targeted summoning of a character or item of SR, SSR, or LSSR quality. If I can get this, I can directly summon an LSSR follower, and from then on, I really can just lie back and win. 3 chances. Maybe I really am a lucky person after all. Please, let me live a life completely free of financial worries. As the random box shook continuously, my expectations also grew wildly. Obtained 10 kilograms of magic crystal stone. I randomly got one of the worst rewards, but the comforting part is that selling it will also give me a fortune. After adjusting my mindset, I began the second draw. Obtained skill: Primordial Thunder Staff. An attack skill isn't bad. Let's open the last one first. Obtained Summon Ascension Rune. This is a rune capable of raising a summon entity's tier. The degree of enhancement depends on the summon's potential. The summon cannot be called forth until the upgrade is complete. Seeing this final reward, I was incredibly excited. This is exactly one of the things I wanted. But the problem is, who should I give it to? One is an SR rank high agility assassin, and the other is a terrifyingly strong meat tank despite being our rank. If it were you, who would you choose to give it to? Stop stuffing your mouth, you big glutton. Comparing the two, it seems Cossack would be more reliable, not to mention he was my first summon. I'll keep Cossack behind later to help him upgrade. Anyway, we can clear floors relying on Meat Shield for now. Then I started checking another reward. Skill: Primordial Thunder Staff. Infuses thunder power into a blunt weapon. Has 3 forms in total. Belongs to growth type skills. Seeing this skill description, I was very satisfied. My weapon is perfectly suited. Immediately, I learned the skill, and in the next second, a surge of thunder power flooded into my mind. Since I learned the skill, of course I have to test it out. Skill: Soul Chasing Shocking Thunder. However, as I swung the hammer out, absolutely nothing happened around me. I almost forgot that skills cannot be activated outside the tower. Cossack behind me saw my action with a face full of confusion. Lord Summoner, what were you doing just now? I just obtained an offensive skill, and it's a growth type one too. Hearing these words, Cossack felt like the sky was about to fall. Lord Summoner, you are straying further and further down the wrong path. Seeing Meat Shield unconcerned on the side, eating his food to himself, Cossack vented all his anger onto him. It's all your fault. You only know how to eat. You don't even keep a close eye on our Lord Summoner. Seeing them fighting in my room again, I immediately dismissed the summons. I know what Cossack is worried about, but the profession I awakened is Summoner. Relying on this ability, summons will carry the vast majority of the player's combat power. If the summoner's combat power is 10, and the summon's combat power is 100, then our total combat power is 110, and the higher the total combat power, the more advantageous it is for future tower conquering. It's said that in a parallel universe, the summoner who had the same trait as me and summoned Cossack before me was definitely much stronger than I am, yet he still died in battle, and the world he lived in suffered destruction. In a sense, Cossack's worries are correct, but I'm also a free thinker, and I also want to experience the feeling of being a manly man, so I want to experience my newly learned skill. Anyway, Cossack and the others will absolutely obey my commands. Come out, my summons. However, the state of the just summoned Cossack seemed very off. Lord Summoner, I am very happy to serve you, but offensive skills can sometimes turn into poison. To tell the truth, I was already very uneasy during the 20th floor. Fortunately, the opponents at that time were only goblins, which I could easily handle, but orcs are absolutely a no-go. I apologize to you in advance. I am about to commit an unforgivable major mistake. According to the third clause of the 3 principles of the summon, when Principle 1 and Principal 2 conflict. Principal 1 is executed with priority. In the next second, Meat Shield suddenly flashed behind me and firmly restrained me. You idiot, how many times have I told you? Act after we enter the tower. What's the point of grabbing Lord Summoner now? Once we enter the tower later, Meat Shield will protect your safety, and I will be responsible for killing the monsters. This isn't the outcome I wanted. Don't do this. Just spare me this one time. I will behave myself from now on. I am willing to swear on everything. I will absolutely not put myself in a predicament alone. Just one monster is enough. I will definitely be extremely careful. Under my constant pleading, Cossack finally compromised on the premise of ensuring personal safety. Otherwise, Cossack would carry out his plan. The scene shifted, and we arrived at floor 21 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Orcs possess immense strength but are dull-witted. Of course, they are definitely much smarter than Meat Shield, so we still need to be a bit careful. Before we set off, let me test my skill first. Of course, no problem. You can experiment 100 times. Here is a training dummy Meat Shield. You can punch him to your heart's content. Surprisingly, Meat Shield also agreed to let himself be treated as a punching bag for me. But rather than wasting the skill on Meat Shield, I might as well directly go find an orc. Black Tower Floor 21 quest. Kill 30 forest orcs. Time limit, 4 hours. Facing the orcs, Cossack and Meat Shield charged ahead first. Unexpectedly, the clumsy-looking Meat Shield used a flash to reach the front first, and with a heavy punch directly killed several orcs in front of him. Seeing this, Cossack was unwilling to fall behind. Amidst the flash of blades and shadows of swords, several orcs fell in response. Seeing this scene, I was stunned. At this rate of killing, the whole thing would be over before I even caught a single one. I saw Cossack jump into the monster horde, separating a single orc behind him from the herd. I understood that this was the opportunity Cossack created for me, and immediately activated Shadow Step, charging towards that monster. As Cossack flashed away, I had already rushed over, utilizing swift movement techniques. In the instant the orc swung to slash, I leapt high. Primordial Thunder first form, soul-chasing shocking thunder. Although it was a simple vertical strike, its power was absolutely not weak. With just a single hammer strike, it defeated the orc below. The feeling of battle is truly too wonderful, directly completing my first kill in life. It turns out the monsters inside the tower aren't that terrifying either. I was already fired up at this moment and charged towards another orc. However, in the next second, a giant foot directly stomped it flat. Looking at the gazes of the two of them, I instantly felt guilty. A deal is a deal. One means one. I won't act recklessly. Black Tower Floor 21 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward, 2.1 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Reward, Black Tower exclusive healing potion ×5. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for Floor 21 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower. Graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward. Platinum badge. Just like this, after making the agreement with Cossack, I conquered one floor every day, allowing me to kill one monster. Soon, I completed the quest for the magma orcs on Floor 24. I am now gradually getting a bit addicted to fighting monsters, and I am very much looking forward to the monsters on the 25th floor tomorrow. It's just a pity that I can only kill one each time. Thinking about it, I still hadn't used the Summon Ascension rune, so I immediately summoned Cossack out. Lord Summoner, I am very happy to serve you, but isn't today your rest day? I picked this up on the road, thought it might be of some use to you, so I'm giving it to you. Saying that, I tossed the Summon Ascension rune over. Seeing the rune in his hands, Cossack couldn't believe his own eyes. Summon Ascension rune enhances the tier of the summon entity. I'm not dreaming, am I? Is this really for me? What abilities or virtues do I have to receive such a precious gift? With this, I can better protect Lord Summoner. Then aren't you going to use it right now? I want to do that too, but if I use it hastily, it will be very dangerous. I'll use it after going back this time, and when I come out next time, you will see a brand new me. Are you going back already? Since you're here, aren't you going to watch TV for a bit? Since Lord Summoner has said so, then I'll watch for just a little bit. Since I had nothing to do, I also lay down to accompany him in watching for a while. However, I didn't expect the image on the TV to shock me. My mother actually appeared on the news channel. What exactly happened? Why is Mom on the news? I saw my mother on TV holding a sign, standing in front of the corporate building protesting. Oppose unfair contract termination. Improve the treatment of water purifier maintenance staff. Prevent corporate abuse of power. At this moment, my mother no longer wished to stay silent, simply because she was complained about for not helping the customer take out the trash while installing a water purifier for them. To pacify the customer, the company demanded that I go apologize. I refused this unreasonable behavior, and the result was receiving a contract termination notice from the company, carrying out a one-person protest for over 10 days. What she got in return was only the mockery of the corporate executives. If you dare to laugh again next time, I'll ram into all of you. Just then, a man walked up from behind. Hello ma'am, thank you very much for your hard work. I am lawyer Lee Changshi from the Park Kim law firm. When my mother reacted, she instantly changed her expression. Is the company planning to sue me, or is there some other intention? Misunderstanding. A complete misunderstanding. The purpose of my visit is exactly the opposite. Our firm is preparing to sue this company. You must know that Park Kim is the most famous law firm in the Kimchi Nation. We are willing to defend you pro bono, ma'am. However, seeing my mother looking at him like he was a fool, lawyer Lee Changshi was instantly speechless. I can understand your doubts, but this is a project established for vulnerable groups in society, an activity our law firm conducts every year. Although it looked highly suspicious, it didn't seem like a lie. Left with no choice, my mother ultimately agreed to hand the case over to the lawyer in front of her to handle. Since that is the case, then let's start with media work first. After saying that, a large swarm of news reporters pointed their cameras at my mother, interviewing and taking pictures frantically. And seeing my mother on the news, I immediately felt terrible, actually letting mom face all of this alone. As her son, I am too useless. Shouldn't we support each other at a time like this? But what's worth doubting is, how exactly did my mother find a lawyer? Park Kim Law Firm isn't someone just anyone can hire. At this time, Cossack on the side proposed letting him go investigate, but this guy looks unreliable at first glance. If he ends up doing something bizarre like tying bow knots, it will be all over. Just as I was still contemplating how to provide my mother with some financial support, my father suddenly called, telling me not to worry about my mother's affairs, and that the gold medal lawyer was free of charge. Also, the hospital called in the morning saying that Rixing Hospital's orthopedics department is launching a hip joint surgery rehabilitation treatment program, and my father happened to be selected, so he can be hospitalized for treatment in a few days. After hanging up the phone, my suspicions grew even stronger, so I called my brother to ask if he knew the reason. Unexpectedly, not only did I not find out anything, but I accidentally learned that my brother actually won a scholarship and already had enough money to pay tuition and buy a laptop, and this scholarship was awarded by the Awakened Management Association. This is way too coincidental, right? All the good things happen to my family. All these coincidences are likely the doing of the Awakened Management Association. To prove my conjecture, I asked team leader Kwang Guangri out. Was the matter with my family or doing? This is a necessary action, because not resolving the troubles of your family will inevitably affect your progress in conquering the high tower. But shouldn't this kind of care only apply to the elite agreement? I remember I signed the regular agreement. Just as I finished speaking, team leader Kwang Guangri suddenly slammed the table, stood up, and pulled out that previous agreement. Then let us sign the ultimate elite agreement right now. This makes me feel very awkward. Why did they have to choose me? I personally think I am not excellent enough. There should be many players stronger than me. Hearing these words, team leader Kwang Guangri immediately stood up. Player Feng Jua, you are still too modest. You should know that you have already set unprecedented historical records. However, in my view, none of this was my own achievement. It was just good luck summoning the powerful Cossack and Meat Shield. Without them, I am nothing. I saw Kwang Guangri bow and plead with me to sign the agreement. Only this way can we legally and compliantly dispatch personnel to closely protect your safety, preventing an incident like the previous one from happening again. However, I just didn't want to make myself too conspicuous. If I did, Cossack and Meat Shield would eventually be exposed one day, and that would only drag me into even more troublesome events. Kwang Guangri seemed to see through my concerns. Regarding media interviews, you can handle them entirely according to your own wishes. As for security issues, we can make maximum adjustments based on your requirements. You can continue living according to your old habits. We will only dispatch personnel for close protection when you are outdoors, and we can even arrange bodyguards for your family. As long as you sign the agreement, we will immediately give you 2 luxury mansions, one for your family and another for you to live in alone. Hearing these enticing words, my heart was instantly moved, so I picked up the pen preparing to sign this ultimate elite agreement. However, right at this moment, it suddenly occurred to me that I should first ask for everyone's opinion on this matter. Time came to the next day, and I summoned the evolved Cossack out. Immediately, a dazzling light shone so brightly that I couldn't open my eyes. Cossack's tear advanced from SR to SSR. After showing off, Cossack withdrew the light and restored his original appearance. Why didn't you call Meat Shield out too? That is because before conquering floor 25 of the high tower, I have something to discuss with you. So I told Cossack about the Awakened Management Association and the Ultimate Elite Agreement. I didn't expect Cossack to immediately express his approval to sign it on the spot. This is the treatment a player possessing national level strength deserves. But after signing that agreement, I must conquer up to floor 60 in the future, or even higher floors. That will be a dangerous, unknown territory. Please rest assured, leave all the danger to us. We guarantee to safely let you reach the pinnacle. Since that is the case, then I will have to train much harder too. Hearing my words, Cossack instantly refused. No, this absolutely will not do. Lord Summoner only needs to ensure your own safety, and that is enough. In the room I stayed in before being summoned, there are a massive number of legendary super powerhouses present. Let me tell you a secret. There are even some demigod level ancient monsters in there. Their strength far exceeds us humans. As long as you remain safe and sound, one day you will definitely summon them. By then, let alone the 60th floor, even the 70th or 100th floor will be a piece of cake. Hearing these shocking words, I couldn't even imagine what kind of existences they were. But from the current perspective, it is impossible for me to summon entities that exceed my tier limits. Yes, but don't worry. As your level increases, you will gain more summoner abilities. So as long as you survive and complete those hidden quests, one day you will definitely succeed. Currently, the cooldown time for my summon skill is 1 month, which means I can summon 12 followers in a year. There are still 19 days left until the cooldown time ends. At this time, Cossack brought up a request. The clearing work for unconquered floors must be handed over to his followers. This is to ensure your safety to the maximum extent. In short, accepting the sponsorship of the Awakened Management Association is also a good thing, because outside the tower, we cannot protect your safety 24 hours a day. After discussing, I summoned Meat Shield out as well. Meat Shield, very happy to serve you. At this time, Cossack behind him said unhappily, does Meat Shield not even greet me now? As a warrior, I don't casually greet just anyone. Does anyone also include me? You must know my current tier is SSR. The current me is a full 2 tiers higher than you. As the one with the lowest tier, you need to adjust your attitude, understand? Facing Cossack's aggressive glare, Meat Shield was too scared to even make eye contact with him. Seeing this situation, I secretly decided that if I obtain an Ascension Rune next time, I must give it to Meat Shield. I cannot let such a silly and naive guy get bullied anymore. The scene shifted, and we had already arrived at the 25th floor of the Black Tower. Floor 25 quest. Defeat 100 normal orcs and 1 powerful orc boss. I saw Cossack and Meat Shield immediately stand in front of me. Meanwhile, I was thinking in my heart, later during the chaos, I'll secretly grab one to deal with by myself. This is my first battle after advancing to SSR. Let me show you my current strength. Meat Shield, you go up first and warm up the crowd. Hearing this, Meat Shield immediately charged up, then raised his fists and leapt high into the air. The orcs below were stunned seeing this scene. In the next second, Meat Shield's fists directly smashed the entire ground open, and the surrounding orcs were sent flying outwards one after another. Very good. Next it is time for the SSR to take the stage. Immediately, Cossack activated Shadow Step and instantly arrived amidst the orc horde. His speed was so fast it even broke the sound barrier. The sonic boom made my ears tingle. Cossack flicked forward rapidly, and dozens of flying blades shot out like a torrential rain, accurately piercing through the vitals of the orcs ahead. Skill, bursting blades, blooming in the air just like fireworks. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but praise. What a truly powerful explosion. Even the orcs nearby were caught in the blast. Right at this moment, a group of orcs holding spears launched a sneak attack from behind Cossack, directly stabbing his body full of holes like a hornet's nest. However, in the next second, Cossack turned into smoke and dissipated. Skill, despicable ambush. Immediately, Cossack appeared behind the orcs, and with 1 sword strike each, he instantly chopped off their heads. Currently, Cossack was thoroughly enjoying the thrill brought by his strength enhancement, but this brought suffering to the remaining orcs. Watching their kin being ruthlessly slaughtered, every single one of them was too terrified to even move. Why are all of you showing such ugly expressions? Hurry up and attack me. Let me enjoy the thrill of the hunt for a little longer. Seeing this, I immediately panicked. I had to act before they solved all the orcs. Immediately, I activated Shadow Step and charged towards the remaining orcs. Although what Cossack said made a lot of sense, a summoner's safety is power itself. I want to grow up as quickly as possible until I am enough to let everyone who worries about me feel at ease. To become a summoner capable of self-preservation, I charged into the monster horde all by myself and randomly found an isolated orc. I cannot rely on Cossack forever. I must become stronger before heading to the higher floors. Facing the sword blade cleaved by the orc, I tapped my toes, my body moving laterally like a shadow, and then landed a kick on the opponent's waist, directly knocking it to the ground. The orc stood up but couldn't find my figure anywhere. Skill, Primordial Chaos Thunderbolt Cudgel. First form, Lightning Strike Soul Chase. 1 heavy hammer strike directly smashed into the orc's head, instantly insta-killing it. At this time, the surrounding orcs also noticed me and rapidly charged towards me, but I didn't panic at all. Utilizing Shadow Step, I charged and slashed towards them, taking them all out one man, one hammer at a time. Primordial Chaos Thunderbolt Cudgel second form, Showering Thunder has been unlocked. Seeing this system prompt, I was extremely excited. I didn't expect to learn an AoE damage skill so quickly. At this time, more orcs from a distance charged towards me to kill, so I decided to use them to test my new skill. Skill, Primordial Chaos Thunderbolt Cudgel second form, Showering Thunder. The so-called Showering Thunder is dividing the power of lightning into 5 bolts, striking different targets respectively to achieve an area of effect damage result. This move is simply amazing. However, because I was too flashy, I was discovered by Cossack not far away. Seeing that I was actually fighting with a group of orcs, his eyeballs nearly popped out in fright. Lord Summoner, please don't act recklessly. Anxious, Cossack instantly arrived in front of me. Don't get too excited just because you unlocked a new skill. Besides, didn't you promise to defeat them one by one, 1 per floor? Hearing Cossack's reprimanding words, I had no choice but to apologize helplessly. However, I suddenly remembered, why do I have to apologize to my own summon? Why should I listen to you? I might look like a weak chicken on the outside, but inside this tower, I am an absolute powerhouse. If you don't believe me, let that orc boss come out and duel me one-on-one. I can smash its head into pieces with just 1 hammer strike. However, speak of the devil and he shall appear. I saw a towering orc boss suddenly appear behind me, raising a giant axe to cleave towards me. Seeing this, I was so scared I even dropped the weapon in my hands. Fortunately, Cossack on the side intervened in time and saved me. At this moment, I was terrified by the scene just now, thinking to myself that I really should have listened to Cossack's advice from the very beginning. So I pointed at that boss and ordered angrily, immediately kill that guy for me. Accepting the order, Cossack and Meat Shield instantly became excited. Just leave everything to us. Immediately, the two charged towards the opponent, with Meat Shield facing it head-on, while Cossack circled to the side of the orc boss. I saw Meat Shield concentrate his power into his palm, catching the opponent's cleaving giant axe with a single hand, and with a force forceful squeeze. He deformed the axe blade. Just as the orc boss was still in shock, Meat Shield raised both fists and leapt high into the air, then smashed down heavily on the opponent. The terrifying power directly rendered its arm useless. Cossack also immediately seized the opportunity, teleporting behind the orc boss. A few flashes of sword light passed, directly chopping its head into dust. Black Tower Floor 25 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward: 2.5 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Server-wide announcement: a new clearance record has been set for Floor 25 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. Due to accumulating 25 Platinum Badges, a special reward is triggered. Reward: you may choose one of the options below. Available rewards: Attribute Enhancement, Skill Copy, Random Item, Summon Ascension. Seeing these options, I chose Attribute Enhancement without hesitation. Name: Fongjua. Affiliation: Kimchi Nations Black Tower. Level 26. Trait: Summon. Can summon 3 simultaneously. Directory: John Cossack, Barbarian Warrior Meat Shield. Trait skills: Targeted Summon, Random Summon. Combat skills: Shadow Step, Primordial Chaos Thunderbolt Cudgel. Seeing that I could summon 3 followers simultaneously, I was very satisfied. This meant that including myself, it would be a 4-person party. The random summon cooldown time still had 18 days. I was very much looking forward to what kind of companion I would summon. Returning home, Cossack and Meat Shield were already grumbling with hunger. Can we eat spicy stir-fried rice cakes this time? I was very confused. Aren't you unable to eat spicy food? That was before. The current me has evolved into SSR tier. That little bit of spice is nothing. Then I wish you good luck. So I ordered several bowls of insanely spicy stir-fried rice cakes. Meat Shield didn't care at all and gulped it down in large bites. But Cossack faltered a bit. With just one bite, it was so spicy he was breathing fire everywhere. Meat Shield on the side immediately added insult to injury. The assassin looks like he's about to die from the spice. We better abandon him and find someone else to replace him. Since I had already passed the 25th floor of the Black Tower, it was time to let my family know. So on the next day, I bought top-grade beef and brought it home. Seeing me suddenly buy such expensive food, the whole family felt it was unbelievable. So I told them about my awakening and that I was now a player. However, no one in the family believed me, treating it all as if I were joking, until I called the Awakened Management Association right in front of them. Time came to the next day, and Quan Guanri drove us to our new home. This is the house gifted to us after signing the Elite Agreement. This place is simply amazing. I formally signed the Ultimate Elite Agreement not long ago. I wasn't optimistic about this, but the biggest regret in life is being unable to fulfill one's dreams. I am very sorry, because the first year salary for elite players has already been fixed. We can only offer an annual salary of 2 billion. In fact, a player like you should receive much better treatment. It's fine. I'm already very satisfied. I just hope that you can protect my and my family's privacy well in the future. We absolutely cannot be exposed under the spotlight. You don't need to worry about this point. If you have any other requests, please feel free to ask. No, these are already enough. If I ask for even more, that would be too greedy. That's good. And we have also prepared your apartment. The furniture inside has everything you could need. You can move in at any time. Seeing the photos on the tablet, I was incomparably excited. I was simply too satisfied with this. Meanwhile, in the largest penthouse apartment in Seoul City within the country, 2 women were playing in the swimming pool, while the true owner of the apartment was the man behind them, Lu Jimin, the #1 ranked player in the Kimchi Nation. Trait: All-Weapon Warrior. Highest level of proficiency with all weapons. Possesses various martial skills, AoE skills, finishing skills, ultimate skills. Currently conquering the highest floor of the Korean Black Tower, floor 66. Cheers! This glass is worth 5 million Korean won, and this is the taste of capital. I was just very curious about that before. Since Appa is a top-tier player, you should know, right? Who is that player who maintained an S++ clearance record for 20 consecutive floors? Right now, the biggest topic is this. I am really curious. What's so great about a floor 25 record? I have absolutely zero interest in those low-level players. Appa, stop joking around. S++ clearance records are a global first. Our country actually has such an amazing player. Aren't you curious? However, what greeted the woman was the man's angry roar. You are not allowed to talk about it anymore. Listen here, you idiot. If I stop conquering the 66th floor now, do you know what will happen? Just like this bottle of beverage, the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower will completely collapse. Do you want to try and see if it's really true? Because you will plunge this country into despair. After driving the 2 girls away, Lu Jimin stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows with an incredibly terrible mood. Those players only know how to talk about S++ all day, making it so that even ordinary people are joining the hype now. Everywhere I go it's all S++. After last month, this month the mysterious Eastern superpower contacted me again. The conditions are an annual salary of 180 billion, plus a luxury mansion and private jet services, and even national leader level treatment. Over in the Sakura Nation, they offered an annual salary of 200 billion, a top-tier luxury mansion, plus 10 professional maid administrators. Faced with such generous treatment, I clearly chose to stay in the Kimchi Nation. During these few months, I have given my all to conquer the 66th floor of the Black Tower, but in the end, all I hear is everyone discussing that little brat who just broke through the 25th floor. What a bunch of ungrateful bastards. Should I just jump ship? Even if I persist, I might not successfully conquer the 66th floor of the Black Tower. You must know that the 60th floor is the dividing line of the Black Tower. On the 66th floor, a group of monsters known as the Undead appeared. Just looking at their undead forms is enough to make one's hair stand on end. Physical attacks are ignored, only elemental attribute attacks are effective. If you think they are just ordinary undead, you'd be dead wrong. Their attacks all carry demonic aura, and players invaded by demonic aura will suffer severe mental trauma. Only players who have personally experienced it know just how agonizing that experience is. Items that can resist demonic aura inside the tower are extremely rare, and therefore we lost a massive number of comrades on that floor. Right now, trying to take down the 66th floor is probably going to be extremely difficult. If I really jump ship, then the reputation I have built up here for many years will be completely ruined. The time limit for conquering the 66th floor in the Kimchi Nation has already passed halfway. In about 3 more months, the countdown for the Black Tower's collapse will begin. The only hope is probably just me, the top tier player, but it's already too late. By then, there's a high probability I won't even be here anymore. Even when destruction comes, absolutely do not regret it, and even less should you despair. Goodbye, you bunch of ungrateful bastards. The scene shifts back to our protagonist. I have already moved into the luxury apartment of my dreams, and this is an area where players gather and live, with dedicated staff to help handle all matters in life. I happily returned to my room carrying fried chicken, simply because I had just cleared the 26th floor of the Black Tower, successfully killing 20 swamp orcs, which is a floor universally acknowledged on the internet as very difficult. Mr. Cossack and Mr. Meat Shield, let's eat fried chicken to celebrate. However, to my surprise, they completely didn't hear my voice. Their attention was entirely on the TV. Hey, what are you guys watching so intently? I saw sexy dances by a popular girl group playing on the TV. The picture on this 100-inch massive TV was simply too shocking, so we appreciated the dance while eating fried chicken. We must continue to work hard in the future too, until we conquer up to the 29th floor. Hearing this, Cossack asked confusingly, why the 29th floor? Because I plan to wait for the random cooldown time to end before going to conquer the 30th floor. This way we can form a 4-person party, making the conquest even safer. Hearing this, Cossack pretended to be very expectant on the surface, but inwardly he was incredibly conflicted. If the summon turns out to be an LSSR follower, then my status as the chief will not be secured, but considering Lord Summoner's safety, my head is about to explode. Meanwhile, Meat Shield on the side didn't have so many worries. Upon hearing there would be a new companion, he became incredibly excited. Time came to the next day, and Kwangwanri brought the equipment I needed. Volcano Orc Leather Armor. Relying on the residual heat of the flame breath, it possesses the effect of resisting cold and frost. Thank you very much. I will return it promptly after I finish using it. Following a flash of light, I began today's Black Tower conquest. The 27th floor of the Black Tower is famous for its severe cold, but wearing the cold weather gear, I didn't feel cold at all. Meat Shield had thick skin and heavy flesh, so he wasn't afraid either. As for Cossack, he was shivering from the cold, but his mouth remained stubborn. This cold stuff, I can resist it by relying on magic power. Are you sure you're okay like this? Definitely no problem. If you don't believe me, watch. Saying that, he activated Shadow Step and ran rapidly forward. Let's clear the floor quickly and go back early. Watching this left us all speechless. What a stubborn assassin. Immediately, we also rapidly advanced forward. However, in the next second, the system window popped up. No way, it ended this quickly. Everything is for Lord Summoner. Black Tower floor 27 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward, 2.7 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Reward, Holy Sword of the Holy Knight Commander of the Holy Kingdom, Tower exclusive. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for floor 27 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward, Platinum Badge. Seeing this reward, I was incomparably excited. Equipment finally dropped, but seeing the appearance of this equipment, I was instantly a bit disappointed. This sword is way too worn out. Immediately, I tossed it into my inventory. Tower exclusive Holy Sword of the Holy Knight Commander of the Holy Kingdom. Attack power increases when fighting against undead. Comes with Holy Fire effect. Enhanced willpower increases critical hit rate. Ineffective against non-undead enemies. Insufficient durability. Requires repair after use. The user's sword and flesh will emit a faint radiance. Because I obtained a Holy Sword after clearing the 27th floor of the Black Tower, I asked my followers if they needed it. I didn't expect that Meat Shield only trusts his own fists, and Cossack needed it even less. He had already prepared equipment more suited for himself long ago. Seeing their attitudes, I felt even more depressed, not knowing how to deal with this sword. Forget it, I'll just use it myself for a few days. If it's not good to use, I'll go sell it. Thinking that, I raised the Holy Sword and continuously tried swinging and slashing it in the room. With just 2 swings, I was exhausted. However, Cossack on the side flattered, as expected of Lord Summoner. Simply too amazing. You must know that this is outside the tower, so physical abilities are heavily restricted. Exhausted, I casually asked, is there no way to lift this restriction? I didn't expect Cossack to tell me that there's a way to lift it. If countless towers on Earth collapse, this real world will also turn into a space like the tower. When that time comes, there will no longer be a boundary between the outside world and the tower, and the shackles on players' abilities will be unlocked, but that is also an omen that the world is about to be destroyed. At this moment, at the Japanese embassy station in Seoul, a man received an important notice to secretly escort a player to the Sakura Nation. It seems the climate of this world is about to change. 2 days quickly passed. Up until now, I still have lingering fears from hearing Cossack talk about the omens of the world's destruction last time. However, the high floor challenges can only be left to high-level players like Lu Jimin. Worrying won't solve anything either. I just need to be unhurried and unpanicked like before, continuing to climb upwards. The 28th floor conquered yesterday was very troublesome because there were jungle trolls that would launch attacks from atop massive trees. Fortunately, with Meat Shield's barbaric charge, he directly shook those trolls down, and then before they even hit the ground, they were killed by Cossack with a single sword strike. And the floor preparing to be conquered today is the 29th floor. The reason I had to wear a gas mask was because plague trolls would debut on the 29th floor. They are a group of guys who walk around while losing yellowing pus and bodily fluids, and many players contracted diseases because of this. After preparing, I summoned Cossack and Meat Shield out. SSR Cossack is very happy to serve you. Black Tower floor 29 quest. Kill 20 plague trolls. Time limit, 4 hours. By the way, don't you two need to wear masks? A warrior will not contract this kind of disease. I don't need one either. I feel wearing this will affect my combat, but I still thank Lord Summoner for your concern. After saying that, the two of them rapidly dashed forward. Thanks to these two brave warriors who do not fear disease, the speed of killing monsters on the 29th floor was actually faster than on the 28th floor. Black Tower floor 29 quest completed. Level has increased. Reward 2.9 kilograms of magic crystal stone. Server-wide announcement. A new clearance record has been set for floor 29 of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower, graded at S++ rank. Obtained S++ clearance reward. Platinum badge. Lord Summoner, what time are we eating today? I'm sorry, I'm afraid that won't do today. Just as Cossack had a bad premonition. Skill. Dismiss summon. Time came to the next day. In the Awakened Management Association's gym, a young girl was working out hard here. Name, Nanjian. Ranked number 2 player in South Korea. Profession/trait, swordswoman. Current progress, conquering the 62nd floor of the Korean Black Tower. The monsters on the 62nd floor are dark zombies. The dark aura they release during battle will erode the player, causing them to fall, and I truly cannot find a way to win. Is the 62nd floor already my limit? Even so, as long as I'm still a top-tier contestant, I must continue to work hard until my body collapses. Thinking that, she drank the entire bottle of milk in one gulp. At times like this, you have to rely on the power of money. Drinking more helps supplement protein and enhance one's constitution. Just at this moment, she noticed a group of staff members hurriedly running past, and hastily called out to Li Minya at the very back. Why are you guys running so urgently? Did something happen? Haven't you watched the news? That bastard Lu Jimin betrayed us. The Kimchi Nation's Awakened Management Bureau only cares about playing politics while neglecting the operation of the elite teams, making the future of the Kimchi Nation bleak. Therefore, I, Lu Jimin, plan to leave the Kimchi Nation, and moving forward I will join the Sakura Nation's team to continue conquering the Black Tower. Seeing this news, my jaw dropped. This is the number 1 ranked player in the Kimchi Nation. If even he leaves, then who else is there to conquer the High Tower? That is why I called you over so urgently. Please be sure to answer my question seriously. How long will it take for you to conquer up to the 60th floor? I knew that after I signed the agreement, this kind of thing would happen eventually one day, but I didn't expect it to come so quickly. Currently on the 29th floor, assuming I conquer one floor every day, reaching the 66th floor will take 37 days, and the deadline for conquering the 66th floor of the Kimchi Nation's Black Tower has about 90 days left. On the surface, it seems achievable, but thinking of this, I opened my mouth and said, it is very hard to achieve within 90 days. If I encounter difficult floors, I will also prepare for at least about 10 days before climbing up. Moreover, the contract terms also state clearly that the pace of climbing is entirely up to me to decide. Seeing the other party's incredibly disappointed eyes, my heart began to waver. No, without 100% certainty, I absolutely cannot make a promise lightly. Right at this moment, the second-ranked Nanjian rushed in. I heard the USA is willing to lease light attribute equipment to us. Is this true? We haven't gotten definite news yet. Currently, light attribute equipment is extremely rare on a global scale. At this time, Nanjian noticed me in the room, making the cowardly me blush endlessly. Hello, I am just here to sell things. This was a good excuse I found. Speaking of which, I happened to get an item not long ago, and it happens to be light attribute equipment. Do you want to take a look? Hearing what I said, Nanjian was completely stunned, and immediately reached out to check the attributes of the Holy Sword. Tower exclusive Holy Sword of the Holy Knight Commander of the Holy Kingdom. Attack power increases when fighting against undead. Comes with Holy Fire effect. Enhanced willpower increases critical hit rate. Ineffective against non-undead enemies. Insufficient durability. Requires repair after use. The user's sword and flesh will emit a faint radiance. Seeing these attributes, Nanjian was completely dumbfounded. How is this possible? I haven't even heard of this kind of effect. She then excitedly hugged me. Can you lend this to me just once? Just once is enough. I'm begging you. I'll do anything you ask me to. Will she really do anything? The scene shifted, and the two of us stepped into the marriage hall, and even took a leave of absence to go to the beach for our honeymoon. honeymoon. Wifey John, shouldn't we make a honeymoon baby now? What do you plan to name our future baby? A name? Let's just call it Holy Sword. What kind of ridiculous name is that? Player Fongjua, are you listening? I'm talking about the Holy Sword. In the next second, I snapped back to reality from my delusion. Truly, my old habit is acting up again. Once I start having wild thoughts, I can't distinguish between reality and dreams. Fongjua, are you really willing to lend the Holy Sword to me? Of course you can. Go ahead and use it, and please tell me how effective the sword is afterwards. And so, just like that, Nanjan changed into her equipment and planned to go conquer the 62nd floor of the Black Tower right now. After briefly leaving a few words, she disappeared from in front of us. And at this moment, what I was thinking was, could this antique be very valuable? If that's the case, wouldn't I strike it rich? Black Tower Floor 62 quest. Kill 20 dark zombies. Time limit, 15 hours. These are creatures that shouldn't exist in the world to begin with. Essentially, they have long since died. Even though she had seen it countless times, Nanjan still felt her hair stand on end upon seeing them again. Immediately, she activated the Holy Sword's white radiance. Seeing this effect, Nanjan was actually a bit disappointed. Is this really okay? Because up until now, the light emitted by the light attribute items she knew of was all much more dazzling and blinding than this. Right at this moment, the dark zombies had already raised their sharp claws and charged over to kill. Now there was no other choice but to go all out. A true warrior must dare to face powerful enemies directly, rather than turning around to flee. In the next second, the Holy Sword and the zombie sharp claws collided together, and subsequently, a terrifying dark aura began to spread. At the moment she came into contact with the dark aura, Nanjan's body became incomparably heavy. Meanwhile, the monster's sharp claws attacked once again. In this moment of despair, the Holy Sword's effect, enhanced willpower, was activated. Immediately, a dazzling light shone, and the light radiating from the Holy Sword directly blocked the dark zombie's attack. Nanjan seized this opportunity and chopped off its arm with a single sword strike, dealt critical damage to the dark zombie. The effect is actually this good. Not only did it make the effects of the dark aura disappear, but every strike could also deal critical damage. Nanjan could hardly imagine that she actually succeeded. Meanwhile, in the outside world, Kwangwangri was waiting anxiously. Over 2 hours had passed since she entered the 62nd floor. Based on past experiences, Nanjan would have already failed and exited the Black Tower. Right at this moment, Nanjan finally returned. The moment she returned, she took off her heavy armor, then took out a healing potion and drank it down in one gulp. However, Kwangwangri was very confused. It shouldn't be possible, right? Even if the floor was successfully cleared, it shouldn't be this fast. After recovering, Nanjan walked straight towards me. So how is it? Do you think my sword was good to use? However, I didn't expect the other party to throw herself directly into my embrace. This sudden embrace caught me off guard, and my face instantly turned red. Are all girls nowadays this direct? If she doesn't let go soon, I'm going to burn myself to death from the heat. Thank you very much. If it weren't for your Holy Sword, I definitely would have failed. Yes, I successfully cleared the 62nd floor of the Black Tower. As long as this Holy Sword is here, I feel that I can also clear the 66th floor all the way through. Hearing this, Kwangwangri was overjoyed, and a massive boulder in his heart was finally lifted. Fortunately, player Fongjua didn't bring this Holy Sword out earlier. If it had been taken away to the Sakura Nation along with Lu Jimin, we really would have been doomed. I find that I understand the man in front of me less and less. From the S++ clearance records to this kind of heaven-defying equipment, can a single person really achieve this level all by himself? This sword is very good to use, but the blade is damaged in quite a few places. It was an old antique on the verge of breaking to begin with. It looks like it will become completely useless after being used just a few more times. You don't need to worry about this. In the player Mall's workshop, there are many highly skilled craftsmen. If we ask them to repair it a bit, it should still be usable for a long time. Hearing this, Nanjan was incredibly happy. However, what I cared about was, will the repair fee be very expensive? You don't need to worry about this. The association will be responsible for reimbursing the expenses. Then do you guys plan to buy my sword? I think it's best you don't sell this sword. You will definitely need it yourself in the future. So we plan to rent this Holy Sword. You must know that aside from the Kimchi Nation, there are hundreds of such Black Towers in the world. Although there aren't too many countries that have reached the 60th floor currently, it will definitely be needed later on. As long as we rent this Holy Sword out at a high price, your wealth will be unimaginably high by then. If you have any questions about this plan, please feel free to ask me. No other questions. Let's do as you said. You are simply my financial advisor. The scene shifted, and I had already returned to my new home. Thinking that as long as I rent the Holy Sword out, I will be able to lie at home counting money in the future, I was incredibly excited. To celebrate this beautiful day, I specially prepared a sumptuous grand meal for you guys. I really didn't expect Lord Summoner to actually cook personally for us. This is simply too touching. Eat to your heart's content. From now on, eat whatever you want, because it is thanks to you guys that I have today's achievements. Time quickly passed for 10 days, and today the end of the random summon cooldown time finally arrived. Please, I beg God to bless me. Let me draw an LSSR companion. It must be the legendary, specially super rare kind. Don't worry, Lord Summoner. It will definitely be fine this time. A guy like Meat Shield absolutely cannot appear again. I say, why exactly are you so prejudiced against Meat Shield? Thanks to Meat Shield, we were able to easily clear so many floors. floors. This instantly made Cossack extremely embarrassed, not knowing how to defend himself. Meat shield on the side, however, proudly revealed a smile towards Cossack. Alright, both of you quiet down. I am about to begin now. Skill, random summon activated. In the next second, a humanoid phantom lit up in the space before me, and then slowly began to solidify. Thank you for your summon. This little lady Jian Dao I bows to Lord Summoner.